Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. Tonight on the show we're going to be touching on a piece of video, I can call it that way, that was released 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it's actually footage from a live stream from a devblog that was released sometimes, I think. I didn't manage to watch it. I mean, I didn't even get any notification when that one was held. I hope you guys saw it. But I did saw the video on demand, and it was posted just 2 or 3 days ago. And the devblog is related to the rollout of capital ships. As in rollout, people can build them, people can fly them, people can pew-pew with them. So, the devblog talked about the series of events that will introduce capitals, and they mention there's a couple of phases. The first phase would be the debris collection, in which the players get to do some special anomalies and some special signatures, and they get the debris and turn it over to Concord, and then Concord in combined power with the 4 empires, they develop the capital ships. And afterwards, after this event is finished, then the factional war games phase begins, where the capital ships are being tested. Now, this is interesting, as I mentioned in our previous video in regards to the lore, tying in to the capital ships and how they did it all. And of course they also talk about this inside the live stream, inside the devblog, when they mention that the Eve Echoes is a parallel universe, and basically there's bleed through information from the main universe into the Eve Echoes universe, and basically we just get glimpses of data in regards to what's going on there, and we kind of develop our own technology inside Eve Echoes as well, because we reverse engineer whatever data we find, and we now get capital ships as well, which is pretty cool. It means that the lore team is picking stuff up and it's doing its job properly. Now, for the testing purposes, it's not only an event in which players can interact with the capital ships and have fun with them, because that's actually what the devs mentioned. We all know that capital ships in EVE Online aren't that accessible, and you kind of need to grind and kind of need to, I don't know, be like, have a special status to have a capital. Most of the players, I mean the majority of players, don't have capital ships. So if the capital ship is in a game, but there's a lot of players that don't interact with it, what is the purpose of it in terms of its relation to the player base? Well, they try to fix that by hosting this event, this phase of the capital ship testing, and basically players, any players, they just need to be a mega, if I'm not mistaken, they can take part in the factional war games for dreadnoughts. Actually, let's say for capital ships, so factional war games for capital ships, in which they get to test and play with them and have fun in that 3-stage NPC and then 4th-stage pew-pew amongst the 4 participants. But there's a flip side to this coin, meaning the developers are actually analyzing the data from this testing phase, and they've pretty much designed the capital ships, and they don't know how it will work. So instead of hosting a private test server with an event that everyone gets a capital ship and everyone goes to a system and starts shooting each other en masse, this test that takes about 1.5 months will basically feed the developers with information about how the capital ships can be improved, if some need to be nerfed, if some need to be buffed, and how good they fare against each other. Well, that could have been relevant and might still be relevant, but the downside is that the test itself, you get some random items. So regardless of how players do play, and regardless of if the pilot is actually good at flying it and I don't know, properly targeting and getting rid of the NPCs, and then properly dispatching off the players at the end of the round, you get random items, and you have to make the best of it with the items that you get. You can be the best pilot, but if you get shitty items, you'll just get blapped out of existence, not by the players, but by the NPCs as well. So that's an interesting testing mechanic, it's just pure randomness. I don't know exactly how much data is going to be reliable to collect and to, like, mash up together to figure out which of the ships is better. But of course, you can do some big data crunching and just mash up everything and pretty much group them after every player chose all the item sets and do some correlations based on that. I don't know, I'm not a big data analyst, but there's some more interesting stories to this event. So, as they mentioned, the second stage will begin on the last day of September. This is the second stage in which the capital ships, the dreadnoughts, are being tested. So this is the testing phase. During the first 2 weeks of October, there will be war games for dreadnoughts. Yeah, we know. But they mentioned that during the third week for October, there will be war games for carriers. Where are the carriers? That's a good question. Well, we might want to have a step back and look at the big picture here. So there've been some big fights, there've been some nasty piece of black screen parties all over the cluster. The question is, the developers could be focusing on that, or on fixing those issues, and the carriers, the capital ships, the drone boats might be delayed due to that, or they simply forgot, or I don't know. One thing is for certain, they did not manage to respect the timeline. We might forgive them for that, because we have the Dreadnought test phase. But seriously, when are the capitals due to arrive? And it's going to be interesting to see how did they fix the problem with drones, actually with fighters, because I didn't see any devblog or anything mentioning fighter drones. I don't think they will be having the same mechanics as in EVE Online, meaning you can assign the fighter drones to someone and they can warp away from the carrier and do their thing in the system. That's what you can do in EVE Online, by the way. As a carrier pilot, you can assign your fighter drones to a squad member, and if the squad member just warps around the system, the fighter drones just keep warping after him, and practically they guard him, and whatever target that your teammate will be shooting at, the fighter drones will engage and fire upon that target as well. I don't think this will be the case in EVE Echoes. It's probably going to be something more simplified. It will probably just behave just as drones behave, standard drones, but they will just have enormous damage to do good versus, you guessed it, stations and probably other dreadnoughts, and of course battleships, because stuff lower than battleships, it's going to be pretty much the same problem as with heavy drones trying to shoot at a frigate. If you don't apply a ton of webs, it'll just shoot and miss, shoot and miss, shoot and miss. So they did announce carriers. We don't have them yet. It's past mid-October. We're into third week. Carriers not here. We'll have to check next week to see if carriers do arrive after the downtime, after Wednesday. Now there's stage 3, there's phase 3, which I think they've already started. I've seen a post on Twitter, the race to build capital ships, and you just need to collect ore, you need to collect PI. It looks like it's an event for industry people. Sheev actually talked about this, and it seems quite odd that they're rewarding capital ship skins, and if they're not tradable, it's gonna suck. Because, well, industry players usually don't have skills to fly the ships that they're building. So the skins should be tradable, so the builders, the engineers, and the manufacturer characters can sell those skins off and make some extra dough on the side. But there's also a problem regarding industry, in which you know, you have the cost of blueprint for the materials, the cost for minerals in PI, but you also have a building costs which just pile up as soon as you start making those capital components, and in the end you can get to some ginormous sums of ISK then that basically dictates how much that capital ship will cost. Actually, it's the same thing. It happens with all ships, and I think it's especially observable with the freighters. That's why they're so expensive, because the building costs in like setting up those manufacturing jobs, they cost so much, and that you kind of feel the tears building up in your eyes. So if you don't have the money, it's gonna suck. As Chief mentioned as well, you'll have to go through Biplex to get the ISK in order to build the ships, which is stupid. But it's also a bit weird because they actually mentioned Phase 3, and it's a bit different than what we see right now, as in terms of the current event. We want to introduce a similar experience to player with this event. We will launch the ship graveyard. They'll deploy these ships into action, meaning in a ship graveyard, basically after the Empire's build and I don't know, complete the blueprints for the capital ships. The pirate factions will try to copy them, and soon after, in Nihilus space, there will be pockets with pirate faction capital ships. It's going to be the same capital ships as in the major empires, no custom capital ship for the pirate faction, but it will be tagged as, I don't know, stolen Phoenix or modified Revelation or whatever, repainted. So they stole the technology and made their own capital ships, and now they're just having fun in Nihilus space, and so players will be able to go into Nihilus space and blow them up. And after they blow them up, they will be able to gather capital ship debris and blueprints of some capital ship modules in advance, so that players can get their hands on them early. Then, when we release the capital ships, players can acquire capital ships faster through gameplay. What exactly ties this one to the current event with gathering materials? So, are we having an event with gathering materials and building capital ships, or are we having an event with going into Nihilus space and getting capital ship blueprints and components and then building capital ships out of those? It's a bit of a conflicting information. Again, this is something that, from my understanding, aired on the live stream a month ago or so. So it would seem pretty weird. Why would they post the video on demand for it just 2 days ago? What were they trying to achieve with that? Probably create hype, or maybe not enough viewers tuned in to view the live stream, and most of the players were not aware of what the hell is going on there. Well, if you do watch the video, I'll put the video of the video on demand in the link description. Do check it out and let me know in the comments, is this confusing for you or not? Because for me, I'd say 50-50. There's some good information, there's some bad information, and there's some what the fuck information. All in all, I hope they do keep up on their word and they do release the carriers. I'm anxious to see how the hell we will be able to control the drones and launch the drones and swap the drones, because the drone system is still problematic. It has received some improvements along the way since the game launched, but it's still far from good. And considering the big problems in big fights with drones, not only creating lag and also disconnecting people because of server issues. Some people on Reddit also suggested client-side issues, and they may be right, because of course the number of drones and polygons and generation of visual effects for all the drones might cause your game client to crash. And hopefully this will be fixed by the end of November, when they announced they will be releasing a potato mode graphic style, especially made for people that have low-end devices and for people who participate in big fights, so the game would not crash, or the server would not crash. But all in all, I do want to see what's going to happen and how the fix will take in effect, if it's going to have any good sides, and if anything's going to be improved or not. And of course, give us carriers. It's in the video, you guys posted it. Give us carriers, at least in testing phase, For crying out loud, let's see how they behave. What should we expect from carriers in the future? That's it for today. I hope you guys learned something. Thank you guys for watching. A very big shout out to my channel supporters, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.